Welcome to lesson 1. What we're going to be discussing here today is the authentication of your birth certificate, the significance of the SF-181 form, and also the power of attorney. So basically, the birth certificate is an instrument, that we can utilize. We're not the registered owners of, okay? The state is. So we're going to take back that control. And how we do that is that we authenticate our birth certificate. And it's really not that complicated. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. You order a loan form from your vital statistics office, and make sure that it has your birth certificate number on there. A lot of us have old birth certificates and it may not have your birth number on there. So make sure you get one with your birth number. After you order that, you're going to send it to your Secretary of State. So basically, every Secretary of State, they have an authentications office. Okay, this is a separate department, from all of the other departments, and they will do an authentication for you. What I do want to let you know is that we like to use countries outside of The Hague. So The Hague is a convention that countries basically banded together and created treaties. And okay, we're not gonna, kill children or do genocide, or, we're gonna uphold the rights of the people. So that's what The Hague is for. The United States is a part of The Hague. So when you ask for an authentication, you want to use a country that is not a part of The Hague. I'll say that again. Use a country that is not a part of The Hague. Now, it's real easy to find this information. All you have to do is really just look up, countries not in the Hague Convention. And we have a form for you. We have a template for you that has the countries listed. And like I said, use one outside of the Hague. It's a form that you fill out. Go to your state's website. Like I said, go to your state's website and click on the authentications, pretty much their directory, their department, and they'll have the instructions for you. So every state is different, because I get questions about this, as far as, okay, my state does it differently, or they don't do, authentications. Philly is completely different. Okay, so you want to make sure that you go to these sites, or you can call these people. I want to make this a note. I learned a lot of what I know by actually going to go do things and calling people and asking questions. And they'll tell you the procedure, so you can always call and get the procedure. We're going to go through some information on the birth certificate, what it is, and why should we authenticate it. Well, the first rule is Minnesota Rule 220. I will advise you guys to write this down or look it up. Like I said, we did provide you with a template, and you could just click on the link and it'll take you right to the information. But I'm going to break a little bit of it down for you. I'm going to read a little bit from Rule 220. Birth certificates is basically saying the register of titles is authorized to receive for registration memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title. Your birth certificate is called a certificate of title. Look at that. It's right in Minnesota Rule 220, showing the date of birth of said registered owner, providing there is attached to said birth certificate an affidavit of affiant who states that he/she is familiar with the facts recited. So the affidavit that they're talking about is also a template that we provide you. It is something that you do attach, after you're done with the authentication process of your birth certificate, stating that the party name in the said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owner's name in the said certificate of title. So it's basically telling you exactly what information needs to be on the affidavit. And it says that you can do this after you have attained the age of majority at a date 18 years after the date of birth shown by said certificate. So you can attach or take control of your instrument after you have attained the age of majority at 18. So according to Minnesota Rule 220, that is why we attach the affidavit to our certificate. I want to make this a point also. Your birth certificate or certificate of title is known as also a warehouse receipt. And this is pretty deep, people, so pay attention. And I also want to tell you to, like I said, look this up yourself. Read it till you get it. Okay, so a birth certificate is a warehouse receipt. Okay, this is what they don't tell you. If you look up what a warehouse receipt is, it is a document that provides proof of ownership of commodities that are stored in a warehouse, vault, or depository for safekeeping. Warehouse receipts may be negotiable or non-negotiable, meaning that you can use these in financial transactions. Now, if you have a birth certificate, I want you to go take a look at your birth certificate. Look at it from a different standpoint, because you have all of these numbers and things on there. So we're going to go through a little bit of what's going on. A warehouse receipt has the location of the warehouse where the goods are stored, i.e. a residence, the date of issue of the receipt, i.e. the date issued, the consecutive number of the receipt found on the back or the front of your birth certificate, that's the red number, a description of goods or the packages containing them, i.e. your name, the name, sex, date of birth, etc. The signatures of the warehouseman, which may be made by his authorized agent, i.e. the city clerk or the state registered signature. Birth certificates now appear at least to qualify as warehouse receipts. So according to the UCCs, this is law, people. This is law, and this is something that you can utilize at a later date, of course, after you authenticate this instrument. So that's pretty deep to learn that your birth certificate, if handled correctly, is worth billions, people, millions, billions of dollars. Okay, it's something that we're kept in the dark about. The process of authenticating is real simple. I'm going to keep it real simple for you. We're going to do a couple of steps. It's not that many steps. The first step is to order a birth certificate from your vital statistics office. So wherever you were born, order you a long form birth certificate. Cool. Number 2 is to send that birth certificate to the Secretary of State of the state that you were born in. Now, you can find this information online, at your state's office. So if you are from Florida, you would type in Florida Authentication Department or Florida Authentication. It'll pop up. Okay, they all have a different department, and they all have that department specifically for authentications. Some of them may say apostilles, or it may say apostille / authentications, which is cool. We don't want an apostille though. We don't want an apostille. You want a authentication. The third step after you get that seal back, because what they're going to do is you're going to send it off. I think it's like $8 for a money order in different places. You're going to send it off. They're going to send it back to you. They're going to send it back to you with a seal. That's your first seal, and they're basically saying that this document has come from it's legit. So we utilize the Secretary of State because they are the highest notary in the land. Okay, they pretty much say what's legit and what's not legit, and so that's why we are sending our birth certificates to them. They're going to send it back with the seal. Cool. That's step 2. Step 3 is to send it to the national level, okay, which is DC. And we have that information for you. Like I said, you could type in national authentications or DC. It'll pop right up for you. We do have the link for you in this course. So, cause less stress. And basically what you're going to do is, again, fill out the form. You can utilize the same country. Don't make it hard for yourself. Use the same country that you did before. And you're going to send that off the same way that you sent it off to your state level. They're going to send it back to you with a seal that looks something like this. Okay, this is the seal that you're going to see. And they're basically going to sign off and say, that this is a legitimate document. Okay, after that point, that's step 3. The fourth step and the final step is to attach an affidavit of ownership to the front via Minnesota Rule 220. So Minnesota Rule 220 told us that when we reached the age of majority, we were to attach an affidavit to the certificate of title. And this is what this is, a certificate of title. You're going to attach the affidavit. It has to have, your name. And I want to say this also. You are a real person. The piece of paper is a piece of paper. It is artificial. Okay, it is not you, but is in representation of you, excuse me. So this is just taking control of your instrument. This is the first step, people, and it is paramount and important. If you have children, I would suggest that you authenticate theirs at the same time that you do yours. Of course, the wording will be different on the front of your affidavit. You can say that you're holding this until they obtain the age of majority. And also I also want to advise you to look up UCC 9311. It's about the certificate of title and basically leaning it. But basically, if you look at paragraph 2, it says list of statute, covering automobiles, homes, etc., which provides for security interest to be indicated on a certificate of title as a condition of perfection, and any non-uniform commercial code central filing statute. Okay, so we're going to get to that part a little later in the lessons as far as what's going on there, but that is a part of authenticating your birth certificate. So it's really good information to reference. UCC 9311, UCC 9312. Please go read this. Okay, and this is not a hard process. It's not hard at all. So we're going to get into the SF-181. This is a document that comes from the OMB, which is the Office of Budget and Management. Management and Budget, excuse me. They pretty much forecast the budget for the coming years. Don't think that you're not included in the forecast via, citizen and all. It's basically a document to alter your ethnicity and race in the system, pretty much, dealing with commerce. Anybody that's considered black and Hispanic or Latino, you are pretty much dead by law. Okay, because and I'm going to get into that of why. And it's really about the verbiage and the definition of things. So before I get into that, and in the document, I want to say is real straightforward. It's one page. Okay, it's real straightforward, real simple. But I was able to utilize this document when I did it for my children a time back. When I was registering them for public school at the time, I registered them as a Native American and not black. Okay, so you can utilize this as many different ways. I mean, I went to the registrar and I told her, hey, they're not black, and I had this document in my attachments, and I had my confirmations as to that I had sent them off to the respected offices, and I was able to utilize it that way. Okay, we're hopping into the document. It's pretty straightforward, like I explained earlier. We're going to go right into it. The first box is your name, last name, first name, initial, all caps. Your social security number, put that with the dashes. Your birth date will be your month and year. And then we're going to drop down to question 1. Are you Hispanic or Latino? And we're going to read the definition of this so we can, hash out what's real and what's not. Okay, a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American or other Spanish culture or origin, regardless of race. Do we see a problem there? South or Central American, that's not a country. That's not a place. So right there, that X's it out. You will want to put no there. Put no there. If you ever considered yourself Hispanic or Latino, put no. Okay. Question 2, it says, select the racial category. So we have American Indian or Alaska Native. Is a person having origins in any of the original peoples, that is a key word, of North and South America. You see the difference from the first one, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. Okay, that would be, the Aboriginal people or the people that were kind of here. That would be you. So you, me, you, Moors look like me, you. Click that box. Okay. Asian, a person having origins in any of the original peoples, you see keyword, of Far East, Southeast Asia or Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. So if this applies to you, click that. That didn't apply to me, so I didn't click it. A person having origin, black and African American. Now, let's look at this definition. So all of the other ones, they were real packed, with a lot of places and things. No, not this one. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. So who here knows any black racial groups of Africa? Because I don't. So that doesn't exist. Okay, meaning why you have no standing in law, people. There is no such thing as black and African American. Color is a misnomer. Color is a color. This is a misnomer. Black is a misnomer. It is not a color is not a signification of a person. Okay, you can't be a black person. It's not possible. Now, if you are trying to, tell someone, I guess describe a shade of someone, you would kind of word that differently. But there's no such thing as a black person. So do not check that, by the way. Leave that completely blank. Native American or other Pacific Islander. A person having origins, a person having origins in any of the original peoples, yet again, in Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or the Pacific Islands. So if you look at the wording, that you kind of get the pattern here, okay, and how they're defining these. Let's get to white. White, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. I clicked that because it applied to me. Okay, and white it's not what you think that it is. If you look up free white persons, look up that definition. That'll give you a lot more clarity. The attachments that come with this document are pretty heavy in verbiage. And it's one from, the House Resolution 194 in the House of, Representatives, and they basically talk about the slavery of Africans and apologizing and coming in arms as brothers and all of that. It's really significant, though. I don't mean to discount it as it's not significant. It is. We also have the apostolic letter, the Mantua Proporia from the Pope. And that's where he's basically saying that, no one is immune to justice, pretty much, as they have known to enslave many people and/or crimes. He's talking about the Vatican, okay, and having jurisdiction in criminal law. Okay, when they have committed a lot of crimes themselves. You can look this information up. This is all public, okay, and some of these documents come from public forums. The next attachment is just the Pope apologizing to indigenous peoples. And we also have the American Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. This is something that you really need to have and read and understand, is the rights of indigenous people. Those are all attached for you, all provided for you and attached in your package. You're going to fax this to 2 different places. We have the breakdown and outline for you. So it's pretty straightforward. You shouldn't have too much problems with this. And like I said, you'll get back your confirmation, save that for your records, and keep that. And like I said, you can utilize it different ways. You can, as in registering for anything, you can use these documents. So that completes our process for filing the SF-181. Okay, we're now moving on to the power of attorney. And we also have a IRS document that goes along with this later on in the lessons. But for now, you need this template. I'm going to go over how to fill it out. It's kind of self-explanatory also, and I do advise you to read this in its entirety. On the second page, you are going to get it notarized. Okay, you're going to sign it. If you have any trouble, you can sign it the principal. Make sure you can sign it as the principal and the non-adverse party. So basically what's going on with the power of attorney is you're giving power. The principal is your all caps name, which is not you as a real person, by the way. I do want to clarify that. Like I said, the piece of paper is not you. The name is not you. You are you. You are a live, breathing being, that is not limited to anything, in this plane or the next. This gives you the power to basically take control of your estate. So let's say if you had a court proceeding, they ask you, do you have an attorney? Because you cannot act as the executor over your estate. You are a minority. You are a baby, an infant. When you erect your power of attorney, you are able to speak at least for yourself in any type of legal proceeding, through this document, through the utilization of this document. The first blank that we have is just your name, all caps. Okay, you're going to utilize that's the principal. You, all caps, your name, all caps, is the principal. The next part is the non-adverse, non-belligerent, non-combative party would be you. Okay, you can utilize your name with non-caps, signifies a real person. So capital letter, all lowercase, you can put your name there. Or if you have an appellation, you can put your appellation there. I personally utilize my appellation. Like I said, in the future, we're going to be doing different things, different filings, and that's relevant. So I utilize my appellation there. I'm going to skim down, and it basically says that you, the non-combative, non-adverse party has the power over anything that goes on with the principal, which is your straw man, which is not really you, but it's just all caps name that we, that's attached to us. And it's basically, self-explanatory. You can read it. Please read this yourself. Please do. It talks about selling, exchanging, any binding contracts that the secured party would take control over. So the second page we have, if there's anybody that you trust, if you're impaired, to be able to speak on your own behalf. And this is really important when you talk about married people. So if you're married, if you're not married, or say that you're common law married, like they would say common law married, you can utilize this document to be able to make those decisions that they tell you that you cannot make because you're not married. Okay, so like I said, yet again, we can utilize this in many different ways. You would name that person, whomever that is, as the party on the second page, that can also speak on your behalf if anything is not right with you, or you can name them as your secured party. It's up to you. So pick someone that you trust on the second page to name there. At the bottom we have the spaces for you to sign. We have the non-adverse party, print and sign. We have 2 witnesses. These witnesses could be anybody that saw you, sign this paper, or they understand what's going on. Get it notarized, and put it on public record. So we filed ours at our county clerk's office, our power of attorney. With that being said, that would be the conclusion of lesson 1. If you have any questions, do email me. I hope I gave a really good, overview of these documents and what they're used for and what you could utilize them